After the lunch break, a warm welcome back to the coverage of the third round of the CKC and JKC season here at Rowrah in Cumbria. Alex Goldschmidt back in the commentary box. A big thank you to Tim Winters for the comment saying David. David's going to be back for round 4 at Lyd in the early part of June, but we've had some results also ratified and confirmed. I'll go through those in a little while, but here's your starting grid for Micromax Heat number 3. Toby Jukes will start on pole position and we'll have Logan Lauder alongside. Amy Peacock and James Roberts will be on row 2 with Tyler O'Neill and Aston Brown on row number 3. Row 4, it's Daniel Minto and Kyle McLean with Kaden Simpson and Harry Neeson completing the top 10, with the 6th row rounded out by Alex Jones and James Tate. Riley Buckton-Young, Samuel Aldini, Ella Lucia and Jack Hutchinson due to start on the remainder of the 16 spots on the grid. So some confirmed results have come through in the meantime. So at the moment, it's been 3 different winners from 3 different heats. In terms of Honda Cadet, Harris Roberts becomes the 3rd different race winner in the heats today, along with Harris Ali and Thomas Potter. Daniel Minto took the win in Micromax Heat 1, Tyler O'Neill Heat 2. In Junior Rotax, Ethan Haig rode in Heat 1, and in Heat 2 it was Tom Carter. Minimax, it's been Melissa Adrian and Lucas Blanford that have run in won both respective Minimax heats, with their 3rd heat due to come up very, very soon indeed. Junior Pro Karts Heat 1, Sebastian Pereira showing as the race winner. For a fact that we're waiting for the confirmed results of Heat 2, which is race number 11 today. But as you can see, the fog still very much apparent here at Rowrah. Has come in a little bit since the conclusion of the lunch break, but still visibility is a lot better than what it was earlier on this morning when we had a lengthy stoppage after Honda Cadet Heat 1 was red flagged and then called by race director Luke Powell, our official series race director. And good to have Luke in the commentary box a bit earlier on, along with Matty Street and Ben, our Chief Medical Officer for the championship itself. A big thank you, as always, to our team at Alpha Live for providing fantastic live stream coverage all the way through the first 3 rounds of the championship so far, as we head all the way around the country. We go to North and South Wales, to GYG and to Llandau. Good to see that Harry Hurst-Grover has got himself involved in the chat, and he went, come on Jacob Dukes, Junior Rotax, and then he went straight away. 1 minute later, I take that back. We've also got Good Luck Caden from Mummy, Lily and Grandma are watching you at home. That's number 77. That'll be Kaden Simpson, based out of York, just 9 years of age. Learnt a lot in his first year in karting, and also got his first ever podium back at the Teesside Super Sprint Series back in October last year. Wind has picked up here in terms of the atmospherics, but the racing has been fully charged. As now, Micromax on their way around this 1,030 metre circuit here at Rowrah. So we'll have an 8-minute plus an additional lap heat, which will then decide the grid for their final. Their final will be the first one out of the finals that we will have, apart from the Honda B final, once everything has been decided with the 4th Honda Cadet Heat, which will be 2 races after this one. So mixed grids, spicing up things once again. It's Toby Jukes from Logan Lauder on the front row of the grid. Ollie B96 saying good luck Lucas Blanford. Lucas will be out in the Minimax Heat 3 after Honda Cadet Heat number 4. Still some standing water on the circuit. The track is pretty much drenched or saturated. Some standing water puddles there through the first part of the stewardesses, so that's going to be a bit touchy in terms of seeing how the drivers are going to be able to go side by side if they are brave enough to do so. Drivers now make their way out of St John's through Sunny Bend. Now they head towards Paddock. They will go into the tram lines. Red lights are on the starting gantry here at Rowrah for the third and final heat for Micromax here today. Into the tram lines, revs rise, noise increases, the lights are not out because we've had a full start called. So I've got to go round again for another lap. And that is for the flag that is a green flag with a yellow chevron, or a yellow V. So once again, the drivers will have to reset, refocus, and get themselves ready for racing. As the drivers make their way through Iredales, that leads them onto the back straightaway. Lovely panoramic shot there of the circuit, overlooking the Stuart S's, which the drivers are now going to make their way through. So it's going to be the second time of asking for the Micromax drivers for their third and final heat. Keep your eyes on the likes of Amy Peacock lining up alongside James Roberts on row number 2 in the 137 and the 17 respectively. So into the tram lines, revs rise, noise increases, the lights this time they are out, we're off and racing. Who's going to lead them into the chicane first? It is going to be by a whisker, James Roberts from the outside of row number 2. As Amy Peacock tries to get past Toby Jukes for third place. And Logan Lauder has got Toby Jukes right up the inside. There's Kaden Simpson trying to get through as well, but has to be behind Amy Peacock, who now goes up past Toby Jukes. And oh no, Amy Peacock under braking, loses the back end, it puts her out, and now she's beached onto the outside of the track. It's not been a very good day. Well, it's been a topsy-turvy day, to say the very least, for Amy Peacock, doing double duty in Honda Cadet and Micromax as things stand. And there is Tyler O'Neill stranded in the number 99. As the drivers make their way through in towards paddock for the first time, Daniel Minto looking up the inside of Logan Lauder for second position, the number 28. Oh, gets a little bit sideways, nearly a clash of sidewalls there, but Lauder still ahead. Roberts leading the way by 1.581 seconds. Minto now up into second position, ahead of Logan Lauder. Toby Jukes rounds out the top 4. Kaden Simpson battling away with Aston Brown for 5th place on the road as they make their way through McRae's. So Tyler O'Neill, unfortunately, his race won't be going any further. Amy Peacock is the last of the 13 runners that we have on the circuit at the minute. As Aston Brown tries to get his head down, trying to close in on Kaden Simpson. There's Minto and Lauder, second and third respectively. Roberts has gotten away early doors. It's Toby Jukes a little bit sideways coming out of the Stuart S's. Kaden Simpson could have a run on the number 39. They swap positions going through St John's. Simpson to the inside through Sunny Bend. Toby Jukes now following in the wheel tracks, looking up the inside through Paddock Bend. There goes the number 39. Great move by Toby Jukes. Gets very sideways, nearly has a slight touch with Kaden Simpson, but keeps it under control to stay ahead of Aston Brown. So there's a battle for 4th, 5th and 6th place. As well held Aston Brown coming out of the chicane. Completely sideways. Toby Jukes mounts the curbs on the inside of McRae's. Kaden Simpson runs a little bit wide coming out of McRae's, but manages to keep in front. And Toby Jukes goes tighter on the goes tighter into Iredale's, tries to get the run on Simpson, but Simpson just plants the throttle. The back end hooks up and catapults the 77 forward. Now through into the Stuart S's. Simpson using that good carry of momentum through the first part, ahead of Toby Jukes, who is catching the number 77. But James Roberts trying to... Oh, now that was a bit of a drama for Harry Neeson in the 47. Running in 7th position, so that will allow Samuel Laudi to get past. Toby Jukes again looking up the inside through Paddock Bend on Kaden Simpson. But the minute he hits the apex, he loses all that momentum carry. He's got to start all over again as we're on to lap number 4 of the race. Daniel Minto, fastest lap of anybody. 1 minute 4.403 from the number 28. 4 minutes and 20 still to go of the race itself, all heats. 8 minutes plus an additional lap. So we still have 4 more races to go until we conclude the heat stages. Then we'll have the Honda Cadet B final. Aston Brown looking very close, but Toby Jukes manages to sweep on the outside going through into the approach on the stewardesses and keeps in front of the 57 for now. James Roberts is having his lead whittled away, or more than whittled away. Oh, Toby Jukes, very, very wide coming out of McRae's, but manages to hold on. Daniel Minto's got that gap down to between him and James Roberts down to exactly a second with a 1 minute 4.183. Minto fastest lap again. Aston Brown. Oh, and there's Logan Lauder. Lauder lost it on the back end of the chicane, and that has allowed the 3 behind. So Simpson goes into 3rd, Jukes into 4th, Brown into 5th. So Lauder's got to try and make a bit of a recovery drive here to regain that 3rd position. And there is Aston Brown going a bit towards the outside of Iredale's, as was the number 33 of Logan Lauder. Now into the Stewart S's. Simpson wide. Jukes went to the inside of the complex into the approach and gets a good run coming out. Now down the hill and in towards St John's. The 90 right. And Simpson battling away with Jukes. Jukes is trying to hopefully force Kaden Simpson to make an unforced error. And this seems to be where Toby Jukes gets a good run. He's a bit tighter on the apex than Kaden Simpson. Gets a good run coming out of the final corner as they go up the hill again into the chicane. Freddie Skilbeck saying, go, Toby, go from Freddie and Ben on the chat. As now we have the battle for the lead. 2 1/4 minutes still to go. James Roberts ahead of Daniel Minto. The gap was less than half a second last time around. It is a little bit closer than that on this particular occasion. Through they go into the Stewart S's once again. Minto taking an aggressive stance towards the curbs on the second part of that complex, as now he's going to get the run down the hill. Down over the curbs, bouncing into the air goes Daniel Minto, and what's more, he bounces past James Roberts to take the lead on lap number 6. Roberts a little bit tighter through Paddock Bend as now they come across the line. The gap's going to be marginal, 0.166 between the pair. Up the hill, into the chicane they go once again. Minto going a little bit wider out of the chicane. There's Roberts lining up on the inside through into McRae's. The 137 takes a wallop of curb. It runs in wide. Minto side by side. They're going to head down towards Iredale's. Roberts will have the inside line. Hard on the brakes they both are. Into the corner. Roberts keeps the door firmly closed and Minto unable to respond. And Roberts has a great run of momentum coming out of Iredale's onto the back straightaway. Now into the Stewart S's. But again, Minto looking rather menacing. He's going to go very close to the back bumper. He wallops the curbs. Roberts has a little bit of a moment, and then all of a sudden, Minto's back through again. Great dueling between these 2 youngsters as they come out of Paddock Bend. Going to go on to the penultimate lap as now Roberts looks towards the inside of the chicane. He's got the run. Is he going to get through? No, he is not. Minto keeps it hanging around the outside and stays in the lead for the moment as they head down towards McRae's. Minto on the defensive. Roberts onto the grass and he loses a lot of momentum, but still keeps the throttle pinned. And now he's right on the back bumper of Minto. Out of McRae's into Iredale's. Roberts goes up the inside, retakes the lead as the timer hits 0. Minto gets the switchback down the back straightaway for what's going to be the penultimate time, lap number 8 out of 9. Roberts looking very close up the inside. He retakes the lead going into the Stewart S's, but Minto gets it hooked up. This particular occasion, Minto a bit heftier on the curbs once again. as they now head down the hill towards St John's. Minto loves this overtaking spot, but this time Roberts has parked the cart where he needs to. Through into Sunny Bend for what's going to be the penultimate time as Roberts drifts a little bit wide, hooks up the traction, gets in front of the number 28 of Daniel Minto. Last lap board is out. Here we go. 3 and a bit tenths separate the top two. Up the hill through into the chicane for the final time of asking. And James Roberts has kept in front of Daniel Minto. So Minto having to try and do something. They have got a back marker just up ahead. That will be Jack Hutchinson in the number 31. You can designate them if they're a rookie. They have the darker numbers. Oh, Roberts drifts wide. Minto has a moment and loses all that momentum. And that, I think, has taken away the opportunity for a race victory. He won Heat 1 earlier on, but it's going to be 3 for 3 because the way things stand, James Roberts has kept it on the black stuff when he needed to. As Minto up the inside of Hutchinson. The checkered flag this time will be prepared because out of Sunny Bend comes the 137 of James Roberts. Daniel Minto, Heat 1 winner. And out of the final corner, here we go. James Roberts takes Micromax Heat number 3 ahead of Daniel Minto by 2.1 seconds. That cost Minto a second win on the cards. So 3 different winners from the 3 respective heats. In Micromax Heat 2, it was Tyler O'Neill, who unfortunately did not even make it past the first lap. Daniel Minto behind James Roberts, with Aston Brown rounding out the top 3. Kaden Simpson in 4th. Toby Dukes, a 5th place for the youngster in the number 39, ahead of Samuel Laudii. And then we've also got Logan Lauder, who started on the front row. James Tate in 8th. Riley Buckton-Young will cross the line in the 66 to take 9th ahead of Alex Jones in the 30. And we are waiting for 2 further drivers. Harry Neeson now coming out of Paddock Bend to take the checkered with Amy Peacock in the number 17. It's been a bit of a difficult race weekend for the youngster, the number 17, doing both Honda Cadets and also Micromax. But that's it. So there we go. James Roberts becomes your 3rd respective race winner from all 3 Micromax heats.